Welcome to the Communication Diva Podcast, Episode 20. In today's podcast, Jenn discusses her recent experience of staging her home to sell it and what she has learned about how what we have in our homes communicates to prospective buyers. According to the wisdom of Jenn's real estate agent, Tebbutt, from podcast Episode 3, there are two guiding rules: less is more, and paint is cheap. What it comes down to is making one's home look as unlived in as possible. Has anyone seen the coffee maker, the tea kettle, the toaster, the remote control, the cell phone charger, my book?
Hey everybody, welcome to Communication Diva. This is Jenn Swanson here, coming to you from my very empty dining room. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Welcome to the podcast that explores all areas of communication in the hopes of helping you to have a better life through communication and the relationships that you have. And if this is your first time, you can hear us on our podcast on iTunes, on Zune, on BlackBerry, and on Stitcher Smart Radio. And you can find the Stitcher Smart Radio app on our website at www.communicationdiva.com. And if you go and click on the icon on the right-hand side of the screen and enter the promo code, which is my name, all one word, all put together, Jenn Swanson, that's Jenn with two N's, you could possibly win a $100 gift card from Stitcher Smart Radio. And if you do that, if you enter the promo code and get the app, which is absolutely free to you, I will receive $1 for that. So I thank you in advance for getting Stitcher Smart. And with Stitcher, the nice thing is that your podcasts, the favorite podcasts that you choose, are available to you every time a new episode is published. It will show up on your device that you carry around, your iPod, your iPhone, whatever it is that you pack around. So that's Stitcher Smart Radio for you. So welcome, people, to episode 20 of Communication Diva. I can't believe episode 20. I have now been doing this consistently for 20 weeks, and I can hardly believe it. But I'm very pleased that you are listening. I'm really tired tonight, and it is because we have just listed our home for sale. And that is why I am sitting in a very emptied out dining room. And I can tell you that just getting ready to show it is a huge amount of work, particularly when you think of staging. And some of you may have sold a home before, and some of you might be thinking about it and wanting to know more. And I've sold a few homes in my time, but not for a while. And one of the things I've been thinking about more recently is this business of staging. And you can hire a professional stager. I have no idea about that. I don't know how much that costs or anything. I'm sure you could find out that information. But one of the things I was thinking about staging is that it's a form of communication. You are setting your home up so that the people who come into it can imagine themselves living in it. And you want to communicate some particular things to the people that you don't ever really get to see. So you want to communicate the feeling of home, but maybe not of your particular home. You want to make it more general or generic. And there are certain things that are important to keep in mind. Home also means different things to different people. And so you want to keep it fairly neutral because we have no idea who's going to be walking into our home. And so this is all kind of tricky. And I was not thinking about this as much. I mean, I used to clean up the house and get it all ready and all the rest of it. But in this depressed market, it's more important, I think. Homes are sitting on the market for a really long time, and so making it as appealing as possible is really, really important. There are so many homes for sale right now, and there's not actually a lot moving, especially in the market that we're in. And so staging seems kind of crucial. So what I did the other night is I started a little research, and I wanted to share a few of the key things with you that seem to be important. And again, I am not a professional at this. I am not a real estate agent. I have friends who are, but I am not. And yes, over the years I've been involved in the buying and selling of a few different homes, but not for a very long time. And so this is sort of like starting all over again. So I wanted to share with you what I've learned in the past month, and hopefully that will be helpful to you. So as I said before, you want to communicate things to your potential buyers. And again, these are people that you probably are not going to see. You want to communicate a welcoming atmosphere. You want your home to be very, very clean, to be free of clutter, to be in good repair, and to have what's called curb appeal, and to be depersonalized so that while it still has a warm feeling to it, it's easy for potential buyers to imagine themselves sitting in your living room, because of course that's what you want them to do. So let's look at these areas in a little bit more detail, and I can tell you what we did as well. So the first thing that I found out about when I was not able to sleep one night and I was surfing the net was about depersonalizing. And many of the websites that I looked at recommended removing all personal family photos from your walls and from wherever, sitting around on your bookcases and things, and all collections of things, as well as collectibles and memorabilia. So a lot of the websites I was looking at were talking about getting rid of collections. So if you collect, salt and pepper shakers or whatever, those need to be all packed up and put away. Collectibles, if you collect fancy plates or anything like that, they need to be put away. And memorabilia like personal trophies or banners or things that you have picked up from your travels or sporting events, etc. All of those kind of things that are personal need to be packed up and put away. And so we took down all of the family photos and we took everything off the fridge. There was all sorts of stuff in the fridge, and now it's absolutely clean. And anything that would point to who we might be. And so that seemed to be a really common theme in all of these websites that I looked at, and very important to take away personal things. Of course, another thing to do is to declutter, and I knew about this point. One of the things we did, which I've never done before, is rent a storage locker, because we knew we had far too many things around here than we needed to have. And so we rented a fairly good-sized storage locker and started packing as if we were moving. So sorting and packing and getting rid of things and moving all sorts of things that we're not going to need for the next few months. And again, we have no idea how long this is going to take. So, things like winter clothing because summer's coming, snowboards and, outdoor equipment that, ski pants, things like that we'll be not needing. We put away extra lawn furniture and, boots and all sorts of things like that. So we've been sorting and packing and been doing this for about a month now, and it actually feels really good. Our home looks much more spacious, almost minimalist. And it's amazing how much more space we have when we only keep what's really essential for everyday living. We did leave a few things on the walls, paintings and things. We went into an open house in the same complex not that long ago, and it was so decluttered and so depersonalized that it actually looked fake. I didn't think anybody was really living there, and I asked the realtor if the people who owned the home were still living there, and she said, oh, yes, but it was so empty and so plain that it didn't seem real. It didn't seem welcoming, and it didn't have a home-like feel to it. So I think they had almost gone too much the other way. So try and look at your home through the eyes of someone who is looking for a lot of storage space. And one of the things that was recommended was to empty out cupboards and closets as much as possible. leave a few empty hangers between coats to give the impression of space. Pull out half of that horrible cupboard in your kitchen that most people probably have that is full of storage, plastic storage containers, that disaster, Tupperware and all that stuff. Pack away as much of that as you can and get rid of the junk drawer if you have one. I don't even know what half that stuff is for or where it came from. And so if you don't have any idea what it is or where it's from, maybe just get rid of it. Anyway, get it out of the house is the idea, or pack it up and put it away so nobody sees it. So that was the decluttering part, and that took a really long time, and we're still working on that. So sorting and getting rid of and recycling and all of that. Another thing that the websites talk about quite a bit is repair, and we still have things to do around here. We've been working for days and weeks, and now that we're officially on the market, we have to hurry up and finish before the first people come through. So filled holes and fix things that needed fixing, and the idea is to make sure that things are in working order. If you have major repairs that need doing, it's much more preferable to do them before you try to sell than to have to explain or declare them while you're selling. So those are some things to think about. If you've got, damaged parts of your home, it's, broken doors or whatever, it's probably leaky taps. So it's probably better to fix all that stuff before you ever put it on the market. So that's repairing things. The next thing is to revitalize. And you can do that just as easily, quite easily by getting some paint. And although painting is quite time consuming if you do it yourself, it can be relatively inexpensive and a way to clean up and just change the whole feeling of a room. And it freshens it up and it makes it clean. So go for neutral, clean colors in sort of creams or off-whites or some kind of soft earth tone. Try not to go for anything trendy because chances are you might like it and the other people won't, and they're going to be turned off by it. So try and do something fairly low-key. And the suggestion on many of these websites is to paint the main rooms in your home the same color so that they flow one into the other. So try to keep something pretty neutral. Have the carpets steam cleaned or washed if you have them, or make sure your floors and laminate wood floors and tile and all that are washed and clean. Wash trim and baseboards. And every website just said, clean, 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 make it sparkle. Make it nice and fresh by washing everything, vacuuming, opening the windows to let in the fresh air, washing the windows and mirrors, and trying to maximize the light. And get down on your hands and knees and look for things you might need cleaning that you might not even see when you're standing up. Things like the track of the sliding glass door, or, that space that's really hard to get at between your fridge and your counters, those kinds of places. Inside the kitchen, cupboards and appliances are important as well, because if the appliances are going to be sold with a home, they should probably be clean inside. Another suggestion was to take a look at your sofa, your living room furniture, and if you can't replace an ancient old couch or a sofa, at least replace the cushions. And so throw pillows seemed to be a big theme when I was looking at these websites. Another thing was a few artfully placed fresh flowers will give that show home appeal to your home. They say don't go overboard, but just a few nice flowers here and there, fresh flowers, would be nice. They also say don't go for that old baking the bread or cookies routine that used to be popular 10 years ago. It's very cliche and it's almost sneaky now. So don't bother with doing all of that. I remember years ago you were supposed to bake bread and it would give the scent of home to the house, and now it's just pretty tacky. Also, they say don't use overpowering, heavy air freshening products because they may make it seem like you're trying to hide something. So even smells communicate information to people. So Fresh and clean, but not that heavy, chemically clean stuff. Another thing is if you have pets, make sure your pets are not present when the home is being shown, and be aware of pet smells. And you might not even smell them anymore, so it might be good to have a friend come over or the realtor that's working with you to ask them what your home smells like, because you might not be able to smell it anymore if you're living there. Pet smells and cooking smells can turn buyers right off. So avoid heavy frying or cooking of fish or other smelly foods, heavy, deep frying, that kind of thing. And again, make sure that that the pets, kitty litter box is cleaned, all of that kind of thing. That leads into the idea of having somebody new come to your home. If you, have a friend or have the realtor walk through your home with you with new eyes, because we all get used to the closet door that sticks or the squeaky floorboards or the uneven back steps. And we don't even see those things anymore if we've lived with them for many years. So you can get somebody else to come in and do an assessment, or you can go outside and you can stand in the front of your home and you can pretend that you're somebody else and examine your home with fresh eyes. Another thing you can do is take pictures and then show them to someone else and say, what do you notice? Right? You want your home to have what they call curb appeal. So clean up the yard, cut the grass, sweep the walk, fix the broken gutter, replace the light that's outside, pressure wash the siding, whatever it takes to clean up and spruce up the outside and make it look inviting. Put a fresh pot of flowers outside the door, or a brand new welcome mat, or something to brighten up. Because first impressions, right? First impressions are important. So when you're walking up to the front door, what does it look like? Then walk into your entryway and do the same thing with every room in the house, as everything is tidy and clean as it can be. What else could be done to make this space seem calm and clean and spacious and inviting? So those are some of the things about looking at the space with new eyes. Another thing is that if there's anything you don't want to sell that you have attached to the home, remember to take it down and put it away before you list it for sale, or it may become something that can be argued over. I remember that when buying this home, I got down to arguing over curtain rods, which seemed ridiculous to me, but to the seller, they were special antique curtain rods, and she didn't want to part with them. They kind of looked like just white, normal curtain rods to me, but apparently they were wood, and they were painted, and they were some particularly expensive, fancy stuff. And so we ended up arguing over these curtain rods, which was crazy. I would have suggested, if I had been her realtor, that she replaced the fancy ones with inexpensive ones from somewhere like IKEA before listing the home, to avoid that whole silliness in the first place. I wanted to move in and have window coverings so that I wasn't, wandering around my home with everybody being able to see in. And I really didn't care what the curtain rods looked like as long as they were there. And so she wanted to take them all with her. So it became ridiculous. So if there's anything that you have attached to your home, like, fancy chandelier or whatever it is, take it down before you list and put something else cheaper there, or less expensive or less special to you. And then that won't become a problem. Another thing that everyone talks about is to maximize natural light if possible. So I know when showing a home, realtors usually turn on all of the lights in the home to show it off best. Sometimes just changing the window coverings to lighter ones, washing the windows, or trimming back the trees and bushes outside will help with natural light, which will also help to brighten your space. I know that probably the lights will end up being turned on anyway, but it can help a lot if you're able to bring in as much natural light as possible into the home. So those are some of the things that I've learned about. In this depressed economy, anything you can do to make your home more sales-worthy is to your advantage. Merely washing the floor and tidying up a bit is not going to be good enough anymore unless you already live in a, Martha Stewart show home kind of thing. So chances are there are things that you can do to improve the appearance of your home and in turn, improve the chance of selling it faster. We communicate in many different ways, and one of the ways that we communicate is through the things or the artifacts that we possess, how we look after those things, and how we arrange and display them. And so you might think that this is a bit of a stretch, but I really don't think so. Staging a home is a form of communication, and you are trying to communicate something to people that you probably will never meet, and you're trying to communicate that this is a worthwhile investment. Buying a home is a huge investment. It's a lot of money. It's quite emotional. I've got another podcast where I interview my friend and realtor Don Tebbutt, who talks a lot about the emotions associated with buying and selling a home. And so I'll put a link to that episode in the show notes. If you're interested, it's a great episode to hear from a veteran realtor on how communication is such a huge factor here. But the things that we have in our home, we do communicate with them. And I know I've looked at many homes. And there are homes that I won't even go see that I've found on the internet that, are in the right price range and are interesting. But, the living room is painted some hideous shade that I can't stand. And so I'm not even going to bother because the whole tone of the home changes for me when somehow with color, which is silly because, you really could just paint it. But it's a communication and first impressions are absolutely crucial. So that's my podcast for this evening. I will let you know how it all works out for us. I'm ready for bed now, but there's still more to be done before the first potential buyers come through. And I'm really hoping this doesn't take weeks and months because we're hoping to move into a bit bigger home that has a home office in it so that we can build our coaching and spiritual direction practice that I'll be talking more about in the future. And I hope this was useful to you. So if it was, please come and say hello to the website and leave a comment. I've been getting some nice comments lately, and I would love to hear more from you and hear, if you found this of help, and if you have any other suggestions and ideas for fixing up a home to get it ready to sell. So until next time, this is Jenn Swanson with CommunicationDiva.com, and I hope you all have a very good rest of the week. Until next time.